Hi everyone, Dan Daly here, Senior Marketing Manager at LinkedIn. I'm joined today by Miryem Salah, Head of Digital Data and Transformation at VodafoneThree. Welcome, Miryem.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me, Dan and team. This is a real pleasure. I work for VodafoneThree. My job right now is to look after our digital data and transformation, which means so many things. But in real life, it's basically the web and apps and our employee tooling and the data spaces. As every organization, we want to become a data-driven organization. So we're looking at the data products that are going to be driving that. Anything from management information, like the reports and visualization, to the new AI capabilities that are driving our business. And in the transformation space, it's like any business. You grow through getting more business, but also through merger and acquisition. And you need transformation in terms of providing the best experience for your customers, for your employees. And to do that, you need to look at people, process, and technology and drive that. Right now, my passion is definitely AI and artificial intelligence impact on organizations, be it public or private sector, specifically when it comes to the fact that where we saw technology before as an opportunity for augmenting the people that we have and offering unassisted experiences to our customers. Today, AI is challenging everything, core business models, operating models, and really everything that a business would have taken for granted before.
Okay, well, so talking about how AI has been such a disruptive force, thinking about in particular how it has changed the buyer-seller relationship, or maybe more broadly, the client or agency relationship with the business. Just perhaps give me your perspective on how AI has changed the buyer-seller relationship in 2026.
Yeah, absolutely. I think what we should do is probably travel back a little bit further and try to see just in the last, let's say, 30 years, that kind of progression of a sales colleague's day-to-day job, right? Pen and paper, to now there's more systems that you can use to gather data. Then actually, do you know what? You can have more systems and integrate them, and they can talk to each other, and that gives you a lot more information. Oh, there's a new thing, which is the web, and it's going to give you the opportunity to actually not have to interact with some of your customers, because they can go and interact with the system in itself. And obviously, in the last couple of years with Gen AI capability, again, a tool that's helping you do your day-to-day job much faster, much better, much more intelligent, as well as have maybe some agents that can do a lot of what can be automated in your day-to-day job. So in my mind, whenever I think about it, I try to think about this journey and how things have changed for people, be it employees of organizations or customers. And that has changed very I said quickly, very drastically. And we never had enough time to really make that change part of a transformation that delivered all of the opportunities that are out there.
So it sounds like you're describing an environment where digital transformation is maybe happening like kind of quicker, that everything is maybe getting squeezed a little bit. What maybe are some of the watch-outs, I guess, or caveats that you might share with revenue leaders? Yeah,
so absolutely. There is so many risks, and there's probably some issues in some organizations now that have deployed more of the, fancy, shiny tools that are AI tools without looking at the full impact on what they're trying to do for in terms of their strategy and how they're going to execute against it. So what I always say is, firstly, try to figure out how you see your operating model evolving over time before you start straight away deploying tools and then transforming because the tools are not fit for purpose. And the operating model is, we're talking about sales for sure. Most organizations, to be lucrative, will have to focus on having some kind of sales functions. And in those sales functions, they need to think through in, let's say, just a few months, if not a year, how do I see my customer experience being led? How does our AI capabilities augment the people that we have? How does the agentic AI capabilities that are available probably automate some of the roles altogether? And I always recommend for everybody that's going on an AI transformation to start there. Then comes the implementation and the execution, which is the hard part, and that's working backwards from where you are. If an organization have just undergone a massive digital transformation, they already have a lot of their architecture up and running and state of the art, and it's probably going to be much easier for them to accelerate an AI strategy execution versus an organization that has, let's say, 10 years of IT and digital backbone to modernize. And that's the other part as well. Not all AI capabilities are the same and will bring the same value for all of the organizations, because they're fueled by what? The data, as well as the actual output is the output that the people are going to use. So these people need to be using the AI capability the right way. And the AI capabilities, be it augmenting people or autonomous, need to be fueled by the right data to do the right thing. So it's not really different from any of the transformations that we've been driving in IT and digital and data in the space. You don't start from scratch. You really build on top of everything that has happened, and you start with the people. And then the technology definitely will enable you to get there.
I want to pick up on something else that you mentioned earlier about the customer experience. What do you think about digital transformations, how they proceed with keeping the customer experience in mind, and in particular, I guess, ensuring that you build and maintain trust? Because it does seem to me like there is ways that you might misstep here or end up employing technology in a way that doesn't foster the sort of trust that I think buyers demand more than ever.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think the most important thing that's never changed is that you need to keep your customer at the center of everything that you do. It needs to be customer first. And I think what has changed with the AI space is also the fact that we're going to have another layer that is added, which is the autonomous AI agents becoming part of the customer journey and the customer experience, where maybe at the end, the decision maker in a B2B space will focus on reviewing the output of an AI agent scraping information on a product and service, but that customer you need to cater for. That AI agent that went and got the best pricing, etc., maybe from your website or else, you need to be able to cater for that, otherwise you're going to lose a lot of opportunity there. And then customer experience has also been always definitely customer first, but also employees. Employees need to be happy to be able to provide the best experience to your customers. But now, again, even in this space, is a new fold, which is the AI employees. All of that needs to be mapped and addressed and understood, because these are the other folds that will impact customer experience. So it's going to be a fascinating new world that we need to cater for overall. And then you add to that, obviously, the foundations that are required to fuel all of this.
It sounds like many of the benefits of AI will be on the efficiency and productivity side, and sales teams and sales leaders are being expected to do more with less. But, from a seller's point of view, you can make an employee experience better if you help them to be quicker, more efficient at their jobs. Technology can help like that. Just what are some of the best-in-class ways of measuring the impact of AI or AI-augmented tech stacks, do you think?
Yeah, I think the efficiency part is the easier part to measure, to be able to build a business case for an AI implementation. My personal view is I think it should focus actually on, the benefits of adding value to the customer and the organization first. And obviously, yes, you can then calculate the impact in terms of hours that have been saved and then reinvested in, account development and other sales tasks that are added value. But the rest is also as important, because you need to have the stock in place, you need to do all of the admin. So that percentage optimization is important, but added value is what we should always focus on, rather than spend too much time automating, gaining more capacity. And if that capacity cannot be used anyways to have customer interactions, then what is the point, right?
I'll refer perhaps to some research that was done by the marketing solutions side of business. The idea that, and it's sort of why we in sales solutions then are running with the idea of trust as a, definitely not antithesis, but to the idea of what AI can bring in its proliferation of information, but the human aspect that is still absolutely essential. So, is that something that you recognize when people are also embarking on digital transformation journeys? Is the credibility that humans bring versus the information AI can deliver? I feel like AI can never convince people to make the sort of decisions that happen
and I think it's really important as well, because at the end of the day, any AI that we're going to be deploying is going to a certain extent require some human input be it the data in itself that it's feeding it and giving it the opportunity to have the right output, to anything to do with how you're going to deploy it in itself. So I think that's important, and it might help understand a bit why these committees are enlarging over time. But
yes. And I suppose in such an environment, let's maybe take it back to that data quality aspect of it, the reliance on the tools that it's impossible maybe, as you say, to understand every aspect of it or to stay up to speed as an AI expert. This technology is super advanced and increasingly so. So you really do need the bets that you do make have to be made on the sort of foundational data that you can trust. So maybe give me your perspective.
I will always go back to the fact that it's really important to focus more on the strategy and execution to understand where there's areas where AI can really help. So what is the setup of the organization need to look like to be able to have AI capabilities that can really augment people? Where to go for first based on the foundations that we have, and that means the technology, the data, even things like data governance and management to make sure that you have no risk with these implementation. I will always go back as from my perspective personally as well as in the workplace we should focus on.
Not your own team, but many other teams at VodafoneThree are leveraging Sales Navigator as part of their sales technology stack. What about Sales Navigator do you think is equipping sellers to be more productive or, more successful in their sales efforts?
Yeah, I think if you hear about some of the other conversations that I have, I always go back to say data is king and data is key in everything that we do. So from the experience with Sales Navigator, the opportunity to have all of the key data points that can help you either really have an important conversation with your customer, which make for a better customer experience, as I discussed at the beginning of this conversation, or even if you're prospecting and able to kind of target the right decision maker at the right time and have a really informed first decision with them, that first impression is really important. So that's where the tool really helps with, right? Getting you intelligence in that you can use and really have informed conversations with your customers.
Miryem, thank you so much for your time today. Really appreciate you lending us your expertise.
No, thank you ever so much for such a wonderful conversation. Hope this was helpful.